Well, I've been trained well by my indigenous partners, so I'm gonna do a little land acknowledgement before I start. So I'm visiting from Huichin, the land that you all know as Oakland. It's the traditional land of the Cochenco-speaking Ohlone people, and their territory extends from what now is Oakland, Berkeley, El Cerrito, and other cities to the shore of the bay. And they asked me to bring honor and acknowledgement to the land of the Ute, Cheyenne, and Arapato peoples, and thanking them. And I thank you for your hospitality having us here. So now we have that. I want to do some definitions. So we are all on the same page about when I say equity, when I say engagement, what I mean by that. Because in Oakland, equity is the law. When our department was created in 2016, the city's municipal code was changed, and we added a definition of equity. So in Oakland, equity is fairness and justice. But, you know, when you try to implement fairness and justice in everything that a city does, it gets complicated because it's not specific enough. So what I mean by equity, it's in Oakland, it's an action, it's a verb. That means that you address racial disparities through policies, practices, and procedures in the work that you do in whatever department you are, so in your line of business. And it's data-driven, community-informed, and involved, and systemic. So what that means is that you need to be looking at how you're investing in geographic areas that were divested due to past racist policies, how you're engaging communities that are the most impacted by those disparities to create trust, to create participation, to create change, lasting change in their lives. And finally, remove the barriers to prosperity, access to city services, and opportunities for the folks who are experiencing those disparities. So that's what we mean by equity. Then for engagement, what we mean is that we all work together towards a common goal. And our common goal in the city of Oakland is the mission of the city around racial equity. And so our mission is that the city of Oakland will intentionally integrate on a citywide basis the principle of fair and just in all that the city does to achieve equitable opportunities for all people and communities. That's our vision. And the vision was created after a very long process of community engagement that created our department. Some people in the community say that it was 40 years in the making, way before the civil rights movement. So when our department got created, and this is what we really mean, is that the creation of our department, the fact that I'm here today, it's an expression of the desires, aspirations, and dreams of the people of Oakland. And it was a very strong message that said, we need to change. Government needs to change. We need to listen. We need to be out there with them, really seeing how they're experiencing these disparities, how we are creating barriers for them to participate and be in there with us, making policy, changing our systems, making budget decisions. And for the city internally really to change also and do what the community are asking us to do. It's not easy, but we are really into it. So, I have a question for you. Do you think we can change our future? So in Oakland we say, hella yes. So, do you think we can change the future? Yes. Thank you. I feel home already. So let me introduce my town, because I know you hear a lot of things about Oakland, but let me show you what Oakland is really about. Yeah, we have problems, but there's so much more to Oakland than just what you hear. Please play the video. So that's the town, my town. And so, as I was saying, we believe that we can change the future. So, when we created the department, and we really meant that we want to maintain the diversity of the city, that we want really to change those racial disparities. Our goal is to eliminate racism. Yeah. And we have a whole town with us to do that. We have created a process that is intended to really change the city into a status quo government organization, to a transforming government organization that eventually will be an equitable, fair, and just government organization, anti-racist. What that means is that we actively go out and change the systems that we enforce and use to govern. We have 3 steps that really guide our work and the work in the department. So the first one is that we look at data to know who are the most vulnerable. Then we really engage people in the community to see if the data really resonates with them. And then we use those 2 to design programs that reduce disparities. Our strategies have really, over 8 years that we've been doing this work, create a whole process in the city that is starting to change those systems, the hearts and minds of our employees, and also the community. Because when we got there, somebody used to say that working in government and being in the community in Oakland was like this. Now it's more like this. That's our goal. So, I think we can do it together. It's gonna take not only Oakland, but all of us to really end racism. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about our impact. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the CIP, which is the capital improvement plan of the city. That's the part of the budget that manages the monies for facilities, pavement, transportation, all the stuff that you use every day to walk, to move. That's what the capital improvement part of the budget of a city covers. So in Oakland, we went through a, now I would say 6-year-long process that started with a 1-year-long process to set values, ambitions, and a scorecard to decide what projects were gonna get funded. We have just passed a measure, KK, that tax people in Oakland for us to be able to fund the CIP program. And we wanted to make sure that that money was used in the way that the community wanted. So they helped us create that scorecard that is now what we use to fund projects. And we went, because we're doing what we say we were going to do, we went from having only $61 million in our CIP to over 170 million now that are being invested in areas of the city that had never gotten a penny from the city for their streets, their libraries, their community centers, and programs in those facilities. So that's just one story from all the hundreds of stories now that we have in Oakland. All the departments have now worked on a project, a plan, a procedure, a policy that uses this process. And because we're data-driven, we're tracking the outcomes. If you want to see our collective impact, all the projects that we do together, you can go to City of Oakland /DRE and look for our accomplishment report, and you'll see hundreds of examples of how we're truly doing equity in Oakland. Thank you for being here. Woo!